Hi, welcome to video number 3. I've had a couple of things come up in the last couple of days that have prompted me to maybe want to share some information with you all that you may have been wondering about. Most of what we're talking about today is financial. We're going to talk about 3 things: your unemployment, your rebate checks, and then we're also going to be talking about the financial health and status of the practice. So first of all, unemployment. You should be drawing unemployment by now, and the $390, which is the maximum that the state will permit, is what you have been receiving up until now. Today, you should have started receiving your $600 federal payments as well. The state caps or maximizes your insurance benefits at $390 a week. But as part of the coronavirus legislation, the federal government is going to be supplementing your unemployment with an additional $600 per week. So that was kind of late in coming. I sat in on a webinar with the Indiana Dental Association last Friday, and they had an attorney on there that was talking about unemployment. And they had been working to restructure their website to allow for these payments to be made. And what's happened is they took the website down for several hours on Friday to upload the new software that would allow these payments to be made. And apparently it went pretty smoothly, although there were a lot of complaints by a lot of people who couldn't get on to file their vouchers or to file their initial applications. But at any rate, that software update was accomplished over the weekend, and the payments have begun. So you should see a couple of $600 payments in your bank account today, tomorrow, and the next few days that are retroactive back a couple of weeks. Now, I'm going to pull up something here that I wanted to share with you. Okay. We have actually been unemployed for, you should have 5 vouchers now. The very first week that we were unemployed was the 15th through the 21st. The second week that we were unemployed was the 22nd through the 28th. Both of those weeks, you will not be getting the $600 bump. I didn't get it, and I thought, I wonder if that's a mistake. I wonder if they're running behind. I wonder what's going on. So I did a little research, and according to the U.S. Department of Labor, the Department of Labor issued some guidance on this in early April on how these payments would be calculated. And what happens is the payments will be made, it says, retroactively back to the date of their eligibility. All states will sign an agreement with the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Commission to agree to make these payments. And so the law was signed on March 27th, and our state signed the agreement on that same day, on March 27th. And it actually says that those payments will begin as soon as the week after the execution of a signed agreement between the department and the states. So our state was on the ball, was quick to get their signed agreement in place, and so our payments then are eligible to start the week following that. So you should be looking for your extra $600 bump starting with the week of March 29. So the first 2 weeks that we were unemployed, the week of the 15th and the week of the 22nd, you will not be getting that $600 bump because the law had not been signed yet. You should get your $390, but you won't get the extra $600. You should get your extra $600 starting with the week of the 29th. So if you were wondering about that, that is what's happening there. Rebate checks have started going out. I know this because Danny has gotten his, because I have access to his bank account and I saw it in there, so that's how I know. We have not gotten ours yet. So I think there's some kind of a haphazard system where they're starting to roll them out, but they haven't completely been rolled out. Hannah doesn't have hers yet. I really don't know what the rhyme or reason is, but if you don't have your rebate yet in your bank account, I wouldn't worry about it because I think that it's a process. I think it's taking some time. and I'll keep you updated if I find out anything additional. There is a place on the IRS website where you can go to check the status of your payment. If you haven't received it yet, you can go there, go to irs.gov and click on coronavirus a couple of times, and eventually you'll get to this place where you can put in your social and your address and your birth date, and it'll look it up for you. I tried to use that tool to check the status of our payment, and I got a message that said information not available, or payment status not available, or something like that. So it's not a very good link, because it doesn't work for me, so therefore that makes it not very good. But you might be able to find some information about your rebate if you haven't received it yet by checking that link. But I don't know a whole lot about the rebates. That's all I know about that. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was the status of financial health of our practice. If you have been watching the news lately, you may have heard information about loans that are out there from the Small Business Administration that are available for small businesses to be able to get. There are 2 loans. One of them comes directly from the Small Business Administration. You go to the SBA website, you fill in some very basic information, and you should get your money pretty quickly. Everyone gets their money. The amount of that one is $10,000, and we did get that one, at least a week ago. I think I sent you all a text or a message that said that I had gotten that money, so that we were included in that disbursement. The second loan that's out there is funded by the Small Business Administration, but you have to apply for it through a local bank. The Small Business Administration gives the money to the local bank, and then the local bank disperses it to you. And they do that because the banks therefore can review the applications and verify the information. And the application process for that one is more comprehensive. You have to give them payroll information, you have to give them receipts, revenues, collection numbers, you have to give them head count of how many people work there. It's more exhaustive. Old tax returns, corporate minutes, a lot of things that are out there that you have to provide to the local bank, and then they verify all the information. It's more like what you would think of as a real loan. If you've ever had to buy a house or take out any other kind of mortgage, you know that they ask for a lot of information and they do check your credit. So that's the second loan that's out there. And if you've been watching the news, you may have heard information saying that the fund to pay all those loans has run out. The money is all gone. And apparently that's true. But we did do our loan application long before that happened, and we have been funded for our loan. So if you're hearing stories about small businesses who may not be getting their money because they weren't quick enough, that's not us. I was able to get our application done pretty quickly, pretty shortly after the program rolled out. Got all the information over to First Harrison. They were really good about getting us funded, and we do have our loan money. If you know any other small businesses and you're just kind of concerned about them, just to kind of give you an update, it is possible, it is likely, I think, that there will be more money made available later. Congress is not in session right now. They return on May the 5th, and that's going to be one of the first things that they come up with, is they're going to talk about providing additional funding for this program. I think it'll pass because there's a lot of small businesses that didn't get their applications in time, and the money just ran out before they did. And that doesn't seem very, real fair. So I think that our leaders will probably figure out a way to get this done, but there's no guarantees. But at any rate, we do have our money, and it's a hefty loan. It's over $100,000. So that was important. It was a very important source of funding for us to be able to get our business back up and running and get us funded. Now, I wanted to share a couple things with you also, though, that I've heard on the news that you might also be hearing. This loan that we got is something called a Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program loan. And what you may be hearing on the news is that the purpose of this loan is so that once employers get their money, they can use it to pay their employees to come back to work. Even if you're not open yet, you can go ahead and start paying your employees, and that will put more money in their pockets. It will stimulate the economy, and it will also ease the burden on our state's unemployment funds. And all of those things are true. Those are all true. It would put some money in your pocket. You would be back on the payroll. It would ease the burden on our state unemployment fund. And we do have enough money that if we wanted to start even as soon as today paying you, we do have this loan that we could do that. So that is something that we can use the money for. That is option one. And I'm kind of out of my element here because I'm all about a whiteboard and 7 different colors of markers. But this is the best I have for right now. Option number 1, with that money that we got, we can actually go ahead and start paying you all immediately, as soon as today. That would reduce the burden on the Indiana Unemployment Fund, and that would be a good thing to do for our state. And if I do that, I do have enough money to keep paying you all at least through June 30th. I can use that loan money to do that, and by then I feel like we'll surely be up and running, full speed, and we'll be able to continue to fund ourselves on our own collections. So that's the theory of the program. It's not a requirement. You are not required to start paying your people right away. So the reason I'm giving you all this background is to let you know that I'm not doing that. That's not what we're doing. We're going to do something else. Instead of me bringing you back immediately and putting you back on payroll, we are going to instead, all of us are going to stay with an unemployed status until we actually do reopen our business. We are going to continue to file our unemployment vouchers. We're going to continue to collect unemployment compensation from the state. When we come back and we do officially open, then I will use this loan money to start paying you. So option number 1 is something we're not going to do. Option number 2 is what we are going to do. I am not going to start paying you until we actually come back to work. When we do open, then that is when I will start paying you. You will stop drawing unemployment then. That may mean for some of you some fewer dollars in your pocket for the next few weeks because you'll still be on unemployment. You won't be getting your salary. Quite frankly, I think that most of us will actually be in a pretty good situation now that we have this $600 bump. And there's actually some of us that may even be better off to stay on unemployment. So some of us may have less money in our bank accounts over the next couple weeks. Some of us will be about the same. Some of us may actually be making more. But the whole reason that I'm choosing to do this, I'm choosing to hold off until we actually start working before I start paying you, is that if I can postpone another payroll or another payroll and a half, 2 or 3 weeks of payroll, then by the time we reach June 30th, I'll still have a pretty good chunk of this loan money left. I'm estimating, just based on my rough calculations, that I'll still have probably $25,000 of it left. And then I can use that money for something else. So option 2 is not ideal for our state. It means that there's going to be a dozen people that are still drawing unemployment for the next 3 weeks. But, I don't really feel a whole lot of remorse about that. I don't have a lot of heartburn about that because Hartman Dental has been paying into the state unemployment fund for over 25 years, and we have never had a claim. We have never had a claim against the unemployment insurance fund, and we have faithfully paid our premiums all those years. So I really don't feel bad about us drawing unemployment at this point. I feel like it's more like taking advantage of a benefit that we're entitled to. So you can anticipate continuing to file your vouchers and continuing to draw your unemployment benefits until the day that we do start working again. And at that point, then we'll have this loan money that we can use to pay our payroll, also to pay our utilities, to pay our mortgage, to make sure our electricity stays on and that the lights are on and the machines are all working, and we can use it to pay our equipment loans so they don't come repossess our property. So I feel like now that we have this loan money that we have a really good prospect for the future. I'm going to be really smart with it. I'm not going to splurge and waste it all at once. I'm going to hold on to it and kind of hoard some of it for a little while just to make sure we're in good shape. But I feel like the future's looking pretty good for our office in particular. I've said several times, when we come back, when we come back, when we come back. And you may be wondering, well, when's that going to be? Well, the answer is that we don't know for sure. There's some information that we've been receiving from different sources. As I said, I did attend a webinar sponsored by the Indiana Dental Association last Friday. So I'm planning to put together another video as soon as tomorrow that talks a little bit about what our return strategy is going to look like. But for now, I just wanted to give you financial information, financial updates on those 3 pieces of information. So that's what I have for you now. I hope you had a great Monday, and I'll talk to you again soon.